Hey guys, welcome back to RHR Jen. I'm so glad you're here. Guys, I am already cracking up. I have such a good show for you today. We are continuing on with Betrayal. Oh, I'm loving this book so much. Today's theme, why am I dressed like this? Well, because I am going to the movies. That's right. We're going into the Jamaica of it all, the trip where Meghan dressed like, oh, I'm sorry. What am I thinking? Allow me. Remember when she wore this to the movies? A ball gown? Sure. Why not? And we got this picture, which is one of my all time favorites. There you go. So, accordingly, I have dressed down to go to the movies. There you go. And I should go ahead and tell you up front, I have done a dramatic reenactment of this scene in Jamaica. I'm so excited for you to see. So, we're going to get into that. Today, I'm covering chapter 29, which is The Biggest Losers, and chapter 30, A Living Legend. And I'm excited to get into all this with you. If you're new here, I'm Jen. Please do make sure you're subscribed, hit the thumbs up, and leave me comments, as all of those helps YouTube to recommend my videos. Cantankerous will be in the dramatic reenactment, as well as Mr. Pickle, and I will, if you don't know who they are, you'll see Mr. Pickle in a minute. Cantankerous is here. Oh, what's that? He has a message. He says, "Feel better, Mary Taylor." Mary Taylor, I hope you feel better. But very nice of you, Cantankerous. Normally he's very grumpy, but I'm going to have a dramatic reenactment of Jamaica coming up for you all. I'm excited for you to see because my Gosling takes part of that. But I thought we could talk about these chapters first, starting with chapter 29, The Biggest Losers. All right. Did I already say it? Let me think. Okay. Gosh, I don't think I did. So let me say, I'm Jen. Make sure you subscribed, hit the thumbs up, and leave me comments, as all of those helps YouTube to recommend my videos. I sincerely appreciate that. Also, thank you to everybody for all of your lovely, wonderful, warm, kind comments saying this is your favorite material that I've covered. It's mine too. It really is. Can you tell that this is my happy place? I'm happy to be here having this dialogue with you all, going through this book, and just, I'm enjoying this so much. I really am. And your feedback and your comments have just made every day a little bit, sorry, my fancy ball gown for the movie theater is twisted, but seriously, your comments have meant the world to me. I just want you to know that. All right, let's dive into chapter 29, The Biggest Losers. Let's talk about this. You know what? Let's go ahead and do the dramatic reenactment. What are we waiting for? Would you guys like to see the Gosling? I would too. Now, if you're new here and you're like, what are you talking about? What's the Gosling? The Gosling is my daughter. I don't say personal information, and because she's pretty young, and we don't show her face. So you will see her, but you won't see her. So here we go. Hey guys. All right. We have a dramatic reenactment for you. And I couldn't do it by myself. So I have my favorite actress in the whole world. I'd like to introduce you all to the Gosling. Come say hello, Gosling.
Hi.
So everybody, this is Gosling. She doesn't show her face, but this is her friend. Would you like to introduce your friend?
Yeah, this is Mr. Pickle.
Everybody meet Mr. Pickle, and of course, this is Cantankerous. So for this part, we'll be doing a dramatic reenactment of what happened in Jamaica. What do you think?
Yes.
Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Okay. By the way, you can't see, but Gosling is also very dressed up because we're going to the movies. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we're now in Jamaica.
Yeah.
And we're at the movie theater. What do you think?
I want VIP.
Yeah.
Give me VIP.
So, Megan, you're demanding VIP?
Yes.
And you wanted to know where what is?
Where is my private chef?
Your water.
Oh, that too. I want my water.
You heard the pickle demanding a private chef and a water bottle. And then Harry, what do you want? He's just angry, mumbling. What did you think about the way Megan was dressed for the movie? Should we dress like this the next time we go to the movies?
I guess. What were they even seeing?
It was a Bob Marley movie. Bob Marley's a singer, and they were at a premiere. So, yeah, but it wasn't a fancy premiere. Most people were not dressed up. They're just dressed up. But
I just wear my PJs.
You heard the pickle. Pickle would wear PJs. Does Mr. Pickle want to demand anything else? I mean, is he a royal pickle?
Yes.
Anything else?
Hello, Governor.
Oh, is he a British pickle?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for your sorry, I keep hitting your arm. Thank you for your acting debut. Before you go, is there anything else you'd like to say to the flock?
Honk, honk.
Anything else? Tell them your favorite food.
Fish and chips.
Can you say it with a British accent?
Fish and chips.
Oh, you're showing.
Oh,
Anything else? Let's see. Do you want to say? I don't know. This book has been real. Oh, can you say betrayal?
betrayal.
Can you?
This pickle's a little heavy.
Do you remember Count from Sesame Street would go one?
Yeah.
Can you do that?
One.
Thank you. Okay, tell everybody goodbye.
Bye.
All right, I wanted to go ahead and share that with you. Thank you, Gosling, so much for your wonderful acting. I expect the Academy to call us any day now and give us both awards for that. But and I don't know if you could tell, but she had dressed up too. She was wearing a black dress, you know. And of course, Mr. Pickle was in a black dress and a trash bag. Anyway, if you're new here, Mr. Pickle is like one of her favorite things. It's this giant, you can see stuffed pickle that she loves. Anyway, all right. The Jamaica trip is coming up, so don't worry. I will talk about that, but I want you to be able to see the reenactment, and I know she'll want to see herself too. So there's that. And if you want to leave her comments, you can let her know what you thought of her performance, and I will make sure she sees those after this video. All right, let's get into it. Chapter 29, the overview, the biggest losers. I love the title of this chapter. So in case you're like, what is that from? Tom Bauer reminds us that it's the Hollywood Reporter had crowned them the biggest losers of 2023. So he tells us of their post-Megxit losses. It's continuing on, their damaged reputation, their failed projects, their lost opportunities, their financial strains. Again, nobody feels sorry for them. They've had more opportunities than most people combine, and they just keep fill in the blank. Like they keep messing it up. I want to say more severe version of that, but I'll leave it at messing it up. They keep messing it up. They keep rhymes with smock. They keep smocking it all up. Despite leaving with huge advantages, of course, royal titles, global fame, massive media deals, they just keep plummeting. And it's funny to watch because people are talking about they're actually ending up, the harder they're trying, the less influence they have on things. They have fewer genuine supporters and more public skepticism, rightly so, as they continue to make these horrible decisions and say these terrible things. Their freedom has come at this cost because, again, everything's flopping. They're doing these PR stunts. They're still having plummeted off that near catastrophic car chase. And thank you to everybody who liked my coverage of that. Go back and see that video if you missed it. It's pretty funny. But they are damaging their own reputation. They have nobody to blame but themselves. They can't stop. They're their own worst enemies. And again, here in this chapter, it's specific losses such as burning bridges, isolation from family, donor fatigue, the realization that they are seen as unreliable and toxic by many of the Hollywood elite. I know that's a whole other thing, but it's just interesting because that's the ones that Meghan really wanted to fit in with, and the harder they're trying, the more it's not working. Again, flash forward to we're 3 years in the future, and it still seems to be the case, and they're still continuing to try desperately. Let's talk hypocrisies because that always fascinates me. They claim they were leaving the royal family to gain this freedom, this privacy, a better life, but of course ended up in, I would say, maybe even more drama. They put themselves into financial pressure. Again, no, it's not that anybody feels sorry for them. It's just they've brought it upon themselves. I just realized I forgot to put on my ring. Let's do that. I have an insignia ring. Like, that King Charles has one, Meghan got one. So there you go. Anyway, but they put themselves into this and nobody feels sorry for them. And again, it's resulted in people call them lazy grifters, the biggest losers, things like that. They're preaching service and using platform for good, but again, their actions have specifically, as we've seen, harmed charities. I'm looking at you, Sentabale, and everything they get involved with, it seems to tank. All right, let's get into the only other thing to know about this chapter is it's been called particularly harsh, with critics accusing Bauer of gloating. I don't think so. I think he's just pointing out, I know I'm a Bauer fan, but I'm telling you, he's just pointing out the things that they have done to themselves and brought upon themselves. And I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. When you act like an a-hole, for lack of a better word, people are excited to see you come crashing down. I think normally they root for a comeback, but not in this case when they can't stop bashing families. It's crazy. Let's get into some quotes from this chapter, though, because I want to do that, and then we'll get into, we'll keep going. All right, so on page 262, picking it up, this was around the time that Hugh Grosvenor, there's a funny story, and the reason I'm smiling like this. Now, if you don't know, Hugh Grosvenor, last name Grosvenor. That's how you spell it. When I went to London, I didn't know it was pronounced Grosvenor. I thought it was Grosvenor because there's a whole beautiful area in London called Grosvenor. And I asked the taxi driver if we could go to Grosvenor. He was like, what? And then I learned, no, it's Grosvenor. Okay. Anyway, Hugh Grosvenor was the one getting married around this time, and he was godfather to Archie. He was a close friend of Harry's, but he did not invite either of them to the wedding. He did invite Prince William. The other thing going on was Harry was excluded from something called They Also Served. It was Sandhurst's guide to its 200 most notable alumni. Harry was not included in this, but William, on the other hand, was asked to write the books forward. So there you go. All right, continuing. A lot about the Archwell, how do I say that nicely? Discrepancies, weirdness with Archwell, including... So let's see. I'm on page 263. In 2022... Okay, in 2021, I believe it was, that's when they had gotten 10 million from donors. In 2022, it was 1.6 million. And it turns out it was from 2 unnamed donors. I was hoping that Tom would figure out who those donors were, but he doesn't say. I'm curious. The corporation, again, talking about Archwell, it was annual loss was listed at £536,000. Just $950,000 in gifts had been spent. And it was, it doesn't even matter. Just some of it, they were giving out gifts. It's not doing well. Okay. Archwell's purpose was to, quote, put compassion into action. But Bauer points out, no, it seems to be falling flat because a lot of money was spent on London-based publicists for, quote, programmatic strategic support, whatever that means. And $120,000 was spent to a digital consultant. And again, everything, it was not going well. And then I guess during the year 2023, which would have been reported for 2024, Archwell raised $5.7 million. $5 million of it, I'm making this face for a reason, was from Fidelity Charitable. It just makes me sick because I have investments with Fidelity. And when I found that, I was like, oh, F you, Fidelity. I need to pull my money from them. I know. It's so annoying. Anyway, okay. Anyway, going on. All right. I don't get political here. We're not going to get, sorry, my throat is acting crazy. In case you missed the announcement, I'm going to slow down the next couple of days just a little bit because it's Easter and because I am straining my throat from doing all these chapters so fast. It's fine. But if you see me go to one a day, that's why. But do check back lots because I'm still going to post. Anyway, I don't get political here. I'm not going to start now. We're not going to get political. Let's let's avoid that in the comments, but I want to talk about this because it's important to know that. Okay, so they had raised 5.7 million, 5 million from Fidelity, and then some other group had given a little bit. Okay. Their expenses were 1.9 million. They handed out 1.3 million. And the thing of note was that the single biggest, where is it? Yeah, the highest donation from the foundation that year was made to President Biden's daughter, Ashley. And the reason that this is significant is, again, the beauty of Bauer is he leads you to these things without specifically saying it. So, in my opinion, and what I'm gathering from reading this is it seems like the reason they did that is, quote, I'll read the quote, 263. Archwell's donation coincided with the Heritage Foundation's renewed attempts to source Harry's visa application. So real talk, what I'm gathering here is they had to make they decided to make this big fat donation because the only one that could stop Harry's visa application from being public would be President Biden. So by giving this big donation to his daughter's whatever charity, I guess it is, that would maybe help that cause. So that's kind of what I gathered. Now it gets real weird after this because on Ashley Biden's tax return, she registered that she only had an income of $170,000, yet she had received $250 from Archwell and another $250 from another charity. So she didn't declare $500,000, but also claimed that no donation had exceeded more than $5,000. So that's weird. And the Sussexes remained silent on that. Now, the reason I bring that up is because they were also being super weird because their own accounts, and I want to give a shout out, Stephen, if you're watching. There's a very nice guy, Stephen, who helps me. He sends me a lot of information like this because I have no idea on these tax returns. I don't look at them. I don't know, but he's really good at sourcing or figuring out this information. So thank you, Stephen, for your continued help with this. But anyway, the other side of this mystery is that Archwell's own accounts, they claim to have received just over $5 million, but then that year's accounts showed an income of only $2 million. What's that about? They denied that they did not declare $3 million of income, but it didn't explain the discrepancy. The accounts and their donation, do you see what I mean? On both sides, it's hinky, it's not clear, it's murky, whatever you want to say there. And then for once, they actually shut up and they didn't say anything. So everybody's like, what the hell's happening? So again, it leads me to assume, it is my opinion, that that's a very, again, I don't want to get political. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. Politics, I don't care. It all sucks, okay? It just does. So it leads me to think, okay, they make a big fat donation to the president's daughter and the president can hide his visa application and then they don't have to get super honest on their taxes and she doesn't have to get super honest on her taxes. And there you go. Everybody wins. What? Meanwhile, I'm scared to death if I don't know, mark a $200 whatever on my taxes, I'm going to jail. You know, like it just doesn't work. It's the same thing with them in court. If they're not honest, then they get these get out of jail free passes where they're just like, oh, sorry about that. I forgot. Whoopsies. Whereas the rest of us would be in jail for lying in court, you know, or not properly paying our taxes or whatever it is. It's just absolutely, it makes me sick. Okay, let's continue on. Picking up page 265. We then go into, oh, I like this part very much. One of my favorite quotes from this part of the book. Okay, so Prince Harry, as I described it and explained it in an earlier video, so I'm not going to re-explain it, but in a nutshell, he was going through that trial with the mirror. And I already explained he technically won a little bit of the case, but the technicality is he got 140,000. And it was kind of on a technical. I'm focused on the technicality. It seems like he barely won. The judge was throughout saying, you got to give us more evidence. You got to give us more evidence. Harry wasn't able to do it. He was a nincompoop on the stand. What else is new? But then he did end up getting 140,000, but people are speculating it's not a win. He would have had to pay so much in legal costs and everything else and all the time spent and all this. And yet he's out there saying, quote, he's slaying dragons, and specifically was going for Piers Morgan, even though it turns out it was pointed out that it wasn't under him, even that the accusations were happening. Anyway, Harry just gets these ideas in his mind and he just won't. He's like a dog with a bone. He won't let it go. Well, Piers Morgan put out a statement that's amazing, and it's almost as good as Bill Simmons, my boyfriend's statement. Let's read Piers Morgan's statement. Ready? Quote, Prince Harry's outrage at the media intrusion into the private lives of the royal family is matched by his own ruthless, greedy, hypocritical enthusiasm for doing it himself. I love that. That's perfect. Okay, then he continues on and says, quote, he says he's on a mission to reform the media when it's clear that his real mission, along with his wife, is to destroy the British monarchy. I totally agree with Prince Harry that the ruthless intrusion into the private lives of the royal family for financial gain is utterly reprehensible. I just wish he'd stop doing it. Love it. I thought that was such a good statement. You go, Piers Morgan. Regardless of how you feel about Piers Morgan, I think that's a brilliant statement. I really do. I love it. All right. Again, we have stories of Harry changing his story. The big deal here is that when he was in he's just always in court. So he's in another court right after that. And there he's trying to argue that the Home Office should provide, at the taxpayer's expense, armed protection, of course, for he and his family in Britain. He, during this court case, says, quote, the UK is my home. The UK is central to heritage of my children and the place where I want them to feel at home. Okay, except for the idiot forgot or just chose to ignore that not much earlier he said in an interview on CBS, quote, I want to live in America. Home is the States. So it's changing his story whenever it suits him. He's trying to get protection or security paid for. So he's just changing his narrative, changing his story. The other thing that's changing that I found so fascinating is, okay, remember how I said Meghan kept changing her story? She had said she allegedly had thoughts of self-deletion, first because the royal family was mean to her because she couldn't get mental health help. And then it became about race. And there was another thing that I'm forgetting that was in there too. Oh, and then Harry tried to spin it that the media intrusion. So that story changed a bunch. Listen to this. Harry started changing his story a bunch. Harry was presenting a new scenario for his case, that he and Meghan had not fled Britain because of the media's intrusion into his privacy, even though previously that's what he said. Then he said it was the royal family's eastwards. That changed. Now he's trying to say, because of this court case with the protection, he's trying to say, but because, quote, Buckingham Palace was unwilling to protect them from, I can't say that word, people trying to take them out. You know what I'm saying? So again, he's switching the story again. That's what they do. It's not that I'm shocked. It's just, I just need to spell it out for you so you can see how many times they change and flip-flop their story. Unbelievable. Meanwhile, the people that were actually looking into this, Ravik, it sounds like, etc., intelligence services, and also the police, none of them had found any credible threats whatsoever that match up with the crap that Harry was saying. Nobody's shocked. Nobody. He wanted, quote, let's see. What was it? Oh, okay. Because of this, he wanted the protection. He then started again turning back into that near catastrophic car chase, right? So he starts putting pressure on New York again, and New York's already said, no, it's not what you said. It doesn't make sense. I'm paraphrasing. What you're saying is big fat liars who lie. Anyway, so Harry then acts like a baby, shocker to nobody, turns to, again, let's not get political. I'm just telling you what happened. I don't care which side of the fence you're on. It sucks for everybody. Here we go. He turned to California Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom. Now, Gavin Newsom comes up a couple of times because he has held press conferences for these two losers. He turned to Gavin Newsom. Okay. He wanted the photographers from the New York near catastrophic car chase to be prosecuted in California. And they're like, no, that's not a thing, Harry. So instead, Newsom's office, he asked the governor to bring pressure to Manhattan's lawyers to bring a charge. So it sounds like New York was like, WTF are you doing? Prince Harry was heavy, quote here. This is Manhattan prosecutors quote about Harry. Quote, Prince Harry was heavy-handed and super privileged about what he thought we should do in the criminal process. I mean, it's just, therein lies the absolute frustration when dealing with either of these two super entitled pricks. I'm sorry, I don't know what else to say. That's what they are. Prince Harry was very overbearing, was what the prosecutors were trying to say. There was one guy that flipped in New York. I remember this happening. I can't even remember who it was, and I don't even care. Somebody flipped in New York and said, after Newsom put on some pressure, that, okay, fine, maybe Harry was in a little bit of danger. One person, from what I recall, had flipped. And we're all like, what? Why? Why are they saying this now? Turns out, I'm going to say big fat allegedly, it's because they wanted to work together with the California. It behooved them both to work together. So they finally said, okay, fine, maybe he's in a little bit of danger. But even then, it sounds like it was mostly one guy that had flipped and said, okay, maybe he was in a little bit of danger, fine, whatever. But everybody else involved said, no, he was not. And Ravik's bespoke, remember they had set up a bespoke process for he and Meghan. And if you miss the other episodes, I go into and explain Ravik is something, it's for royals and very important. It's basically where they will provide protection when it makes sense under certain circumstances for royals and VIPs that are visiting. Harry was trying to say, I'll pay for it, I'll pay it. And Ravik was like, no, you cannot pay for it because people are willing to risk their lives. And we think you're just trying to hire people to have an entourage. You can't do that. And Harry was like, that's not fair. Anyway, so this judge was involved and looked at it. And because Ravik did say, okay, listen, maybe we can come up with a bespoke process for you. Remember, I believe it's the one that's in place now, that as long as you give us a certain amount of days notice that you are headed here, we'll assess the risk and we'll see what we can do and maybe provide a little bit. The thing is, and this is the theme that I got, that this is my opinion, but nobody wants Harry and or Meghan. Nobody wants bad things to happen to them. They don't want them to get hurt. So they're saying, we will look into it. And if it seems like there's a risk, we will help you. We're not going to hang you out to dry. But you can't just show up and expect that everybody just comes to your beck and call just because you're demanding it. That's not how this works. We need time. We need to move resources around. Totally fair. So this judge got involved and looked at it and said, yeah, totally fair. And I'm going to take it a step further. Young, what was this? Edward Young. Remember, he is private secretary. I can't remember whose. It may have been, was he the Queen or William? He was one of the private secretaries. Okay. For either the Queen, Prince William, or at the time, Prince Charles. Okay. Harry, remember, kept calling them bad names in the book and said, they're against us. They're tainting the royal family against us, because he was just mad and he couldn't think of who to blame. So he blamed the private secretaries. Well, there's even proof here that this guy, even though Harry was being horrible to him, this guy went to bat for Harry and said, where is it? Oh, he wrote a letter and said that, yeah, safety is of paramount importance to Her Majesty. And that's what Bower's pointing out is, see, Harry's sitting here complaining that everybody's prejudiced against him and they hate him. And, we're turning the royal family against him. And that's not it at all. Everybody was actually still trying to help Harry, even though he's being a total entitled prick. I'm trying to show you the big picture here. I got to quit yelling, but it's just so frustrating. Okay. So then it's reported that, where is it? He had, quote, comprehensively lost his case for this private protection thing. He was ordered to pay 90% of the Home Office costs, which were estimated to be around £514,000, plus his own legal costs, which were $1 million. And he was not given the right to appeal. So I'm just pointing out that he's saying, I'm slaying dragons. And yes, this is a different case, but you can see, like, behind the curtain here, he's not. He's just wasting everybody's time. He's being an entitled prick, and he might get these small victories here and there on a technicality, but he's not winning like he wants everybody to believe. It's important that to him that everybody believe that he's slaying dragons and he's doing these things, so that way it looks like he's out there with a purpose and not just suing people like it appears that he's doing for income. All right. An bout of anger toward the judge. I don't think that's a good idea, to get angry at a judge who dared, quote, to reject his truth. Harry then ignores the judge's direction that Ravik's security memorandum would fall under Official Secrets Act. So he wasn't supposed to share it, is the way I'm understanding it. Well, he went ahead and ignored that and sent the secret reports to a conservative MP and Afghan veteran. In doing so, quote, Harry showed that he felt he was beyond the law. And that's how that chapter ends. I was wishing that I knew more about that. What an entitled, pompous ass, right? Ugh. Now let's go into the next chapter. The next chapter is chapter 30, A Living Legend. This one's a little bit shorter, but we do get into Jamaica, so I want to talk about that. Oh, he's just so infuriating, isn't he? Let's talk Living Legend chapter 30. Here's the overview of it. So he's talking about the living legend is that John Travolta award. Remember, he was such an ass at this thing too. I know. I got to be more specific because he's always an ass. But it sounds like he was looking for a publicity boost. Okay. And so he's able to go to this thing. And on a side note, another boyfriend of mine, I don't know who this guy is, Admiral, where's his name? Lord West, put out a statement. He's not a living legend of aviation. And they were pointing out that he wasn't actually even a pilot. He was listed as a pilot in Afghanistan, but he was the gunner and technically a co-pilot. And there's even a question about that. But anyway, I thought that was pretty great. But and just to put in perspective, another winner was Lauren Sanchez, and Bower is estimating that the reason for that is because she qualified for a helicopter pilot. The quote here on 270 is nothing else, just that her presence there guaranteed some publicity. So that should tell you what we're dealing with here. Now, I'm not putting down the others because formerly, what was that Sully that saved all those people by landing in the water in New York? He had won. That's great. Astronauts had won, things like that. But this year, it was Harry and Lauren Sanchez. Okay. Let's see. Oh, more about this chapter. Let's see here. Oh, this is where Harry was being that's what I was saying, such a, what. And he talked about John Travolta. He was excited John Travolta was going to be handing him the award because remember, famously, John Travolta had danced with Diana when Harry was about a year old. This is where he said to Travolta, quote, "You danced with my mom, as you told everybody here, and continue to dine out on that, probably every single night." So just think about that. He's there complaining that Travolta had excitedly told this story about dancing with Princess Diana, as anybody would. Hello, I'd tattoo it on my forehead. And Harry's accusing him of dining out on Diana's memory. And we're all saying, what do you think you're doing? You use her name. Listen, I get it. It's his mom, but he uses her, I believe, as a weapon any chance he gets. And anytime he can compare his mom and his wife, which is so weird, he does to try to boost Meghan's, I don't know. It's like he's trying to insert some charisma in there because his mother was charismatic, his wife not so much. So it's so weird. So the fact that he's calling anybody out for dining out on Diana's memory, hello, hypocrisy. Hello. Okay, now I want to get into the Jamaica of it all. And I wish I could tell you that Bauer gave us some big, juicy details. He really didn't we didn't get too much new information, but that trip fascinates me. So I just want to remind you a little bit about it and tell you what he did add to it. So just to put it in context, this was January 2024. Harry and Meghan, this was a joint appearance for them. They hadn't done too many. She did not go to that Legend of Aviation thing because who cares? Anyway, she didn't. We were surprised. I figured she'd try to dance with Travolta, but her people were telling her, you need to separate yourself from Harry business-wise or whatever. I'm sure that's not the only reason, but anyway, this was, of course, so they decided they would go to Jamaica. They got to go with, was it the president of Paramount, Brian, and his wife, Tracy. Okay. They got to fly on a private jet. So of course they'd go to an opening of an envelope. But remember, it was so funny because she was wearing, that's why I'm dressed like this, a ball gown to a movie theater with folding seats. You could see, in fact, let me pull back up the picture because it just makes me laugh. You can see that they seem to be PO'd because like they're not even front row. They don't even seem to be in the VIP section. They don't even have a bottle of water at their chair like other people had. She's in a ball gown attempting to sit in this folding chair, which will never not be funny to me. Hello. And look at how everybody else is dressed around them. Yeah, people dressed up for the premiere, but not like this. Not like this. Oh my goodness. Unable to read a room. Okay, so let's talk about this though and what Tom Bauer did add to it. But this was the Bob Marley biopic that they had gone to. They walked the red carpet. They posed with Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness. And the reason that I'm bringing that up is because he's very vocal about Jamaica wanting to ditch the British monarchy. And that was the whole thing. And that's what Tom Bauer kind of sheds light into, is that it was a lot about the reason that they went was for publicity, free ride on a private plane, and anti-monarchy. So absolutely hypocritical. Using titles, going to a place that was, it's a whole thing where they had tried to set up William and Catherine previously to make them look bad, talking about this same Jamaican prime minister. And Harry knew of this and still went and was, of course, he's trying to destroy the royal family. It's just more proof. But so they went and they were actively pushing to become a republic, move away from the monarchy. Harry and Meghan, using their titles, explain the hypocrisy there, right? You can't. They spent years, of course, publicly bashing the royal family and positioning themselves as anti-monarchy, anti-institution, and yet still using the titles. You just can't make this stuff up and expecting this VIP treatment that they would only get by being, well, I would say now loosely associated with royals. Unbelievable. They trash the monarchy nonstop. They call it the Istwards and outdated, then fly cozy up to the anti-monarchist prime minister, pose for pictures like they're royals. The ultimate troll move, and doing it, what, to try to punish this family that they claim to have escaped? Think about the massive safety issue. I've been over this, but I just wanna remind you all that that was their whole thing, is Jamaica, unfortunately, has one of the highest rates in the world. Significant crime problems, and at the time that they went, in the place they went to Kingston. The time that they went, there were travel warnings out, and they're constantly complaining about safety. He's actively suing about safety and demanding taxpayer security and stuff, and claim that, the British press and and public make their lives dangerous, yet here they go. And of course, in the future, they'll go to Colombia. That's a whole nother issue. But the same people who say they can't feel safe anywhere without full level royal protection, they just jet off to Jamaica, one of the most dangerous countries in the Caribbean, arguably the world, and just, take take a walk on a red carpet. Sure. There are accusations that they looked visibly unhappy, but there are accusations that they were arguing. They felt like they should have been put in a more VIP area, allegedly. So I think that's what we're seeing there. They appeared shocked and unimpressed by the cheap seats, as described by multiple outlets. Lots of body language experts chiming in here, saying there was definite tension. They looked annoyed. Harry seemed awkward, but then I say, how do you tell the difference? Harry always seems awkward. Meghan was described as acting, quote, spoiled and entitled. I can't stop laughing about this because remember, they tried to make a big, I don't know, powerful move where they came out of their VIP waiting area. And by that, I mean, they were hanging out in the back near a concession stand. So all I could think of is Meghan wearing a ball gown, and all you would hear is like, meaning the sticky floors from the popcorn and the Coke spill all over. I think that's really funny, actually. But they flew all the way out to Jamaica acting like global superstars. Well, again, I hadn't even gone into the eco-hypocriticalism, is that right, of it all. There's that too. And then seemingly being unimpressed by having the cheap seats, if you will. Unbelievable. And while claiming they want a private life and then posing for pictures. Sure. Yeah. Yep. I mean, why not at this point? Why not? I'm looking for any other quotes to go along with this. The way I understood it is Tom Bower was trying to say that they were friends with that. I don't care what his name, Brian, whatever, the head of, I think he's since moved on, but the head of Paramount. And I know that his wife, Tracy, had done something. I think she was in With Love, Meghan, something like that. I was trying to remember if she did that or she'd done projects with Meghan before. So there's a connection there. Okay. Meanwhile, Harry's still being an ass. Charles and Catherine, this was unfortunately around the time where they were both admitted into the hospital, and we were finding out, about the diagnosis or not diagnosis, but the health issues going on with both. And Harry was remaining silent. People were noticing that they won't shut up except for when it counts. Not that I don't think anybody needs Harry to say anything to the royal family. I mean, it's, he's already actively tried to hurt them all. So what could he possibly say? But it's interesting that, again, he won't shut up and he pretends to want this relationship. But then when it comes time, to, I don't know, to step up, to be there, he's not. Oh, they also pointed out that, do you remember, it's just a small blip, but I do remember this. Harry was out and about, happened to get photographed going to a fitness club. Well, and then maintained his silence. This was at the time we were finding out about the health stuff of both King Charles and Princess Catherine. And so Harry made, again, this is according to Tom Bower, and this is how I understand it too. Harry made sure he was photographed out in public. Even though he has a gym at his house, he made sure he was photographed either going into or leaving a gym. So that way, and then not making a statement. So he could let people know what a prick he is, and then he was out and about, but he would not be making a statement about the health concerns. Just keep that in mind. So when you think, oh, he's not as bad as Meghan, oh no, he is. He's just as bad, sometimes worse. All right, continuing on. Let's see if there's anything else. They thought that the reason Jamaica was welcoming to them as well is because they did have fond memories of Harry's former visit. That would have been in 2012. It would have been the Queen's Diamond Jubilee. Remember, that's when he raced Usain Bolt. And I remember that moment too. It was friendly and cute. And like, I think he tried to distract Usain Bolt. Of course, Usain Bolt is this incredible world record Olympian champion sprinter. So he tried to distract him and then take off running and race him, But what was it? Oh, and then he points out that, just a reminder, Meghan's previous marriage had happened on Jamaica. I thought this was an interesting line, and he didn't explain, so I don't know exactly what he means, but I'm just going to read it to you. Her quote, short-lived first marriage had been celebrating during a 4-day beach party in 2011. He goes into substances that were handed out as wedding presents. I'd heard that before. Okay. Quote, no photos existed of that celebration. Meghan had destroyed them all before she left the island. So do you take that to mean because of the substances? Maybe. I take it even bigger and think she knows that was just a stepping stone for her. Just one step toward, I don't know if she knew about Harry, but that she would use it as a stepping stone to meet somebody more successful or whatever. I don't know if that's the case, but you know what I'm saying? Like that, so she wouldn't want photos of that. So she'd had them destroyed. Maybe. All right. Anything else? Anything else? Not really. Meghan was claiming this was her year of redemption. That was 2024. Okay. No. And then what? And then she did Year of Joy. You might want to stop naming these years, Meghan. Just saying. All right. Here we go. And then the last part I want to underline is they realized that they were plummeting fast and not making money and not doing well. So what did they do? Decided to be even bigger jerks. And they knew that using their royal titles for financial gain would be directly breaking the Sandringham agreement, as far as I understand it. But quote, trading as a royal had become irresistible. Meghan identified herself as, according to herself, one of the most influential women in the world. In the colossal scale of her self-esteem, Meghan genuinely believed in her own importance as a feminist and champion of human rights and gender equality. Oh my goodness gracious. Does it hurt your back to kiss your own ass like that? All right, I'm going to end it here. That does it for me. I thought these chapters were excellent. I think this whole book is fantastic. Again, I love Tom Bower. I like to see what the next chapters are, so that way we know what's coming up. Let's see here. Okay, so the next chapter is 31, Bad Optics. And the chapter after that is 32, The Brand. So look for those very soon. Check back lots. Bear with me as we go into Easter weekend. I'm hosting it at my house, so I'm a little bit panicked about all the work I have to do, but it's all right. I got this. I, unlike these two idiots, don't have staff. I am my own staff. So I'm going to get on clean. Mr. Pickle won't help me clean either. So I'm going to get on cleaning up and getting ready and do this. And then I'll do the best I can to get content out. It may be just 1 or 2 days of shorts. We'll see what happens. And I'm planning to take Sunday and Monday. But again, check back because I might still post stuff if I can get it recorded in advance. If not, I'll do shorts and I'll be back full time on Tuesday. And I can't wait. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate you all. I truly do. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Mary Taylor, feel better. And I will talk to you guys soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye. Hi. Okay, I'm going to run so I can get this posted. I'm recording in real time. I want to go ahead and get this up for the evening. Oh, I'm hot in this dress. I'm going to get this thing up, and so that way you can enjoy it. And then I'll read a little bit more, see if I can keep going. I've got to rest my voice, though. I'm getting scratchy. I know. I'm drinking tea and honey, and it'll be all right. But I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for all your lovely comments. Can I show you this dress? This dress I love so much. Isn't it pretty? I love it. And see, it crisscrosses even in the back. See, I think it's so pretty. So any chance, I mean, it's not that I ever go anywhere fancy, but any chance I have to wear it, I will. So there's that. All right, that's going to do it for me. Take care of yourself. Stay healthy. I'll talk to you again soon. And hey, happy Easter to you all. Big goosey hugs, even cantankerous. Can you be less grumpy? No. All right, just try. It's Easter. Okay, fine. All right, take care of yourselves. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.